Well, this is rapidly turning into one of my favourite times of the day. Just me and you, beautiful walkout, mid-evening here in Spain, and the sun has finally gone in. It's been super hot today. I must admit, one of the things that I'm struggling a little bit with here in Spain is the heat. I mean, it's been immense. Right, let's get on to tonight's topics, because this is going to be a right old rant tonight. Look, as some of you have pointed out, I have now left the UK. Some people say that that means I don't have the right to have my say. I say the opposite. One of the reasons that I'm here in Spain is because over the years I've become utterly ashamed of what we've become back home. Utterly ashamed. And I care so much that it was eating away at me to the point where I was suffering from, I wouldn't say, mental health, but it was bringing me down. It was making me depressed. I was banging my head up against the brick wall. But look, that's another thing. I want to talk tonight about the grooming gang scandal, and I'm going to call it the grooming gang scandal. We all know what sort of scandal it is. And of course, I'm absolutely delighted that Labour have finally come out and seem to have committed to a full national inquiry into what has quite clearly been going on in our country for a very long time now, a number of years. Now, this part is very important, and it's very important for members of, in particular, the Pakistani community within our country. The vast majority of which are decent people, hard-working, and have brought a lot to the UK. But some haven't, and I personally take no pleasure whatsoever in calling these people out, in talking about that particular community. I don't take any pleasure because they're a different religion or a different colour skin to mine. People like me and other people with a much bigger profile than mine have been calling this community or parts of this community out for years now, because we knew the problem existed. And up until recently, if you even mentioned it, even in the Houses of Parliament, you were jeered, called a racist, called an Islamophobe, you were cancelled, and all sorts of other civic punishments that the authorities could push down on you. Now all of a sudden, even this Labour government is recognising it. But I say, utter shame on them and all of the other politicians who have denied this in the past, all of the other people in the media who have tried to deny this in the past, and everyone that has tried to bury it in the past. Now, for me personally, it's just my view. Not only is it vital that all the perpetrators, past, historically and present, are brought to justice and are made to feel the full force of the law for abusing our young girls. Not just young white girls either, by the way. I think that a lot of Sikh girls and a number of young black girls have been subject to this as well. This isn't about race, creed, colour or religion. This is about culture that is simply not acceptable in Western society. And I don't think anyone out there, like myself, takes pleasure in pointing that out. It's just a fact. Now, we all know that we have problems in our own communities. Wherever community you come from, there are bad people within it. And yes, I personally recognise that the vast majority of people involved in this sort of nonsense back in the UK are probably white Brits that look just like me. The difference is the police seem to deal with them. There's not been a barrier, there's not been a culture of denying. There's not been a culture of denial. and there's not been a culture of letting them get away with it. So for me, it's never been about race, creed, colour or religion. It's about culture, about bad culture. And those in the Pakistani community would do well to realise that actually we're not their enemy, we're your friends. We're saying to you, look, if we see problems in our own communities, we call it out. We will call it out, we'll phone the police, we will not hide members within our community that have been guilty of horrible, heinous crimes. We will make sure, in fact, we will testify against these odious individuals that do these wicked things. They're no friends of ours. We will not and will never protect them. And I believe that you guys should do the same. Otherwise, you do get tarred with a brush, and that is just the way it is. But I think the biggest point for me, the biggest point, not only I digressed a little bit, but the biggest thing for me is not only should all these perpetrators, historically and present, be brought to justice and feel the full force of the law, and I mean the full force. We need to know the truth. We need to know what's been going on, how deep it runs, where it runs to, because I believe that it runs, personally, I believe that there are links to certain political parties. I won't go any further than that right now, but I'm sure it doesn't take a lot of guessing. They need to be rooted out. And here's the biggest one of all. Let's not forget that those who have perpetrated these crimes are not the only ones that are guilty and that need to be brought to book and brought to justice. Every single councillor, every single police officer, every single official that helped bury this scandal, when it comes out, if it's proven, etc., I'm going to stick within the legal terms, if you like, when and if these people are found guilty, they must be brought to book and they must feel the full force of the law and take the punishment that they surely deserve. Many people over the years have said, for an example, that they want people like Tommy to go away, to shut his mouth, to stay quiet. People say that to me. You shouldn't talk about these things. People say it to other brave people on YouTube that talk about this stuff. You all know who they are, and they're all told the same things. Shut up, stay quiet. It's not true. Well, now even the government, even the hard left Labour government are admitting that this needs a full national inquiry. So when all this comes to a conclusion, and I just hope and pray that it's a proper inquiry and that nothing is swept under the carpet, we'll see. I'm afraid I don't have a lot of faith in it myself. But when that conclusion is come to, these people must be brought to book and they must be shamed. And those people, majority of them, the vast majority of them, look like me. They're white, British, and for me, they are every bit as guilty as the perpetrators who committed these horrible crimes. I don't think any patriot in the United Kingdom is asking for anything more than justice for our children. What sort of nation are we? What sort of nation have we become? What sort of people have we become if we cannot protect our kids? And even worse, we fail to protect them when we know the danger is there. What sort of society, what sort of people do that to their children? And that is why, to some degree, I'm ashamed of being British, ashamed, because I can't think of another nation in Western society that would do what we appear to have done. And the people responsible, well, the time is coming, isn't it, for them to start looking over their shoulder, because their time is coming. None of us, not one of us, has ever wanted problems. None of us has ever wanted to split communities. None of us have ever had any hatred in our hearts for people that don't look the same as us. All we want, all we've ever wanted, all I've ever wanted, is for kids to be protected in the way in which our children should be. All children should be protected. And believe you me when I tell you now, I would protect any child of any race, of any colour, of any religion against the evil that is child exploitation. You know the sort of thing I'm talking about. There is no worse crime. And this will go down in history. This will go down in history as the biggest scandal, the biggest dereliction of duty, the biggest failure, the biggest, what's the right word? It could make you emotional, couldn't it? The biggest dereliction of duty of care for our kids. And that is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. I mean, if we talk about animals now, for an example, if there was a nation that was deliberately allowing dogs to be abused by a certain group of people, would they stay quiet? Of course they wouldn't. The whole country would be up in arms. But it seems that our kids and their families were worth less than a dog. Their feelings, their lives, their futures, and then their children's futures. Because remember, one victim breeds another victim. These people that have suffered this horrible start to life are gonna find it tough to grow up themselves and have kids and be good parents. So this has a knock-on effect, and it's terrible. And now to hear some of the Labour MPs, some of the Labour front bench talking about how important this is, that it's sorted out. You know, look, I'm glad they're doing it, but boy, oh boy, it's all too late. This should have happened years ago. Instead of demonising, instead of spending their time demonising the messengers, they should have been hunting down the perpetrators. So finally on that, isn't it time that a lot of people were apologised to, that were even released from jail in some instances for saying things that in the past wasn't perhaps politically correct or didn't go down well and wasn't suiting the narrative. Boy oh boy, are the people of the UK owed an apology, and more importantly, boy oh boy, are the children of the UK owed an apology. They're owed an explanation, and more than anything, they're owed justice.